I scrabbled all over this, copyright issues or whatever, but I just wanted the picture of, somebody waitressing. All right, so, a lot of people, they don't believe in tipping, and a lot of people feel like the restaurants should pay the employees more money, and it shouldn't be on the patron to tip them to balance out their hourly wage or their daily take-home rate. Okay, so just so that those people understand that if the restaurant did take that responsibility, you would probably, when you going into a restaurant and your meal costs you, $60, your meal price would be up to around $80, not $60. They're not going to pay the employees for that service. They're not going to pay them for that service. They're going to charge you for the service. Right now, they're paying an hourly wage because those waitresses will fold napkins, they will clean, they will do other things or whatnot, and that's what covers that part of the hourly. The actual tip is what you're paying the person for the service. Now, whether you understand how the stuff work or not, that's on you. But in all reality, they would have to increase how much you are paying. Take your DoorDash, Grubhub. Their prices are as low as it is because you get to choose what you pay for the delivery service. The app fee and all of that stuff and whatnot, those fees that they collect are, 100% of it doesn't stick. It's not going in DoorDash's pocket. You do realize that if you read the information on DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, they all tell you the same thing on their apps, that they don't control the prices of the food. It's actually the restaurant. They get a commission. DoorDash, Grubhub, Postmates, all of them, they're getting a commission off of the sale. The upcharge, the restaurant is making no less than what they usually make off the meal, but they're also making a upcharge on the prices of the food. And then there's the commission. See, if you don't know how the stuff work, you really putting yourself in a bad position, because now you're thinking that somebody who is delivering your food is getting at least half of the no, it's split. No, that is between DoorDash and the restaurant. The driver is only getting $2.50. On Uber Eats, the driver's only getting $2. On Grubhub, that depends. If you're on a schedule, you might be getting $3. But if you're not on a schedule, you're getting $2. So with that being said, if you don't know how tipping work, I feel sorry for you, because you don't understand that some of the services that you get, you're only getting it as cheap as you're getting it because they're not charging you for the service. So again, if the restaurants that you go into, if they had to pay the employees minimum wage, you would be incurring that cost. And so therefore, you would be looking at a family restaurant, you would be paying about $10 more on meals, an upcharge on coffee, an upcharge on free water. Oh, nope, it's going to cost you now. It's going to cost you. Tap water or bottled water, it don't matter. It's going to cost you. So a lot of these amenities that you're getting at restaurants that you're not giving something to the waitress, guess what? You are going to suffer the cost when waitresses decide to protest. Or because, like right now, if you go into an IHOP, man, you notice that it's not enough waitresses at IHOP. At family restaurants and so forth, or whatever, you notice that it's a decline in waitresses. You know why? Because people have decided not to tip. A lot of people are doing a lot of the food deliveries, and so when they do go out of a restaurant, they're not tipping in because they've tipped so much on the food delivery. But so many people don't tip on the food delivery, I can't even predict what the average person does tip or don't tip. But what I can tell you is that you can always complain that tips is optional or tips is based off of service. Let me tell you how I tip. whenever I go in a restaurant, I usually have two $5 bills, but I make it my goal to have two $10 bills. If I'm struggling or something like that, either I'm going to take my food to go, so I'm not occupying somebody's table, or if I want to sit down and I want to eat there, then I'm at least going to take two $5 bills. That's at minimum. That's all you need to take. And you take $5, you put it on the table. And when the waitress comes up, you give them another $5. And when you do it that way, you letting the waitress know, you tell them, say, hey, the other $5 is yours based off of service, but this $5 is because I appreciate you, allowing me to sit at your table. I know your time is of value, blah, 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 blah. When you say stuff like that, man, they know you appreciate them, and that's what they need to hear. They don't want to be treated like servants. They want to be treated like you're their friend coming over to eat dinner with respect. That's how they want to be treated. They don't want to be treated like less. You drop something on the table while the waitress is standing there and you just looking at her. To bend all the way over. She's standing up. All you got to do is tilt yourself to the side to pick it up. You looking at her or him to pick the stuff up. That, man, come on. When we stop being lazy, man? And then you think that waitress haven't had bad experiences with people, but you want them and you expect them to be smiling all of the time. I know when I go in a restaurant and I have a waitress and she has an attitude, I don't want that attitude. I want that waitress, yeah, but I don't want the attitude. I'm not about to sit here and go to her boss and complain to that dude or tell her, hey, look, I didn't come here for all of that. No, hell no. I give her the money up front. Like, hey, I know these people in here don't be tipping like that. I make sure I do something for everybody that's providing this service for me because I appreciate you. And I give her the money, and you know what? My service is great. I'm not going to have bad service. I never have bad service. Never have bad service. But a lot of people out here, they have bad service. And you have bad service because you don't respect the people that are providing a service for you. You don't even respect them. And it's not just waitresses and waiters that I'm talking about, but in all service industries, your price is only as low as it is because people are being paid less than minimum wage. And in some cases, they're being paid minimum wage. But when are they allowed to have higher standards for themselves? When are they allowed to have higher standards? Some people that are waitresses, they want to work in a 5-star restaurant because they believe that the people that come in there have higher standards. And so if they give them the service that they know that they give, which is the higher standard service, then they're going to be rewarded. But even in those cases, we see a lot of viral receipts and stuff or whatever. People spent $300 at the restaurant, gave the employee $3. And when they post those pictures, people start going off in the comments. Tipping is an option. Yes, an option to keep your bill lower. When is people gonna realize that? Like, and you can't be that naive. If the restaurant had to pay them more money, your bill would be a lot more money. It gives you the opportunity to still get service, even though you at the time can't afford that service, but you still can be treated like a king, queen, and everything. I've been to restaurants where I did sit at tables and I did not have enough money. And so what I would normally do is I would ask the waitress for their Cash App or Zelle. And I tell them that I get paid on Friday, or, me driving for Lyft, I'll tell them, hey, I get paid on a daily basis. I'll be able to Cash App you later. If you don't feel comfortable giving me the Cash App, then I'll bring it back in here either later today or tomorrow. More likely tomorrow, I'm going to bring it in. I make sure that I take care of them. I make sure that they feel good. I want to make sure that they're there when I come back to that restaurant, and not having somebody that don't know me and don't know that I tip and don't give me the service that I want. I don't really have to worry about that because I still apply the same method and I tip up front, but I don't want to risk somebody feeling as if they are going to be mistreated. I'm a so-called black male. A lot of people feel like black people don't tip or they don't tip enough, and so a lot of times you can get bad service just off of that vibe alone. Just off of that vibe alone. So I make sure that they don't stereotype me that way. Yeah, it's wrong to stereotype people. Who cares? Whatever. People do it. Everybody do it. You can say you don't. You're a liar. Stop lying to yourself. Change your life. Everybody do it. But what I refuse to do is be put in that box as a non-tipper and get poor service. See, a lot of people, they sit there, man, they real picky. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she didn't do this or like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tipping. You waiting for a reason to not tip that person. And you know what? You didn't get to get service in the first place because she figured you wasn't going to tip. He figured you wasn't going to tip. Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you've been there before, and another waitress is like, hey, they don't tip. You think the waitresses and waiters don't talk? And they seen you before, they remember you, and they didn't told the other person. Part of the reason why you're getting bad service there is because somebody else already said you didn't tip. Again, I know people are gonna say tipping is an option, it's not an obligation. Eating in at a restaurant, sitting in those chairs, is not an obligation. It's an option. But that waitress is depending on those tips. We are in a generation, we've always been in generations of where tipping is necessary. But we are now in a generation where tipping is not it's not an option. Because this is supposed to be 90% of the income. So keep playing and watch DoorDash already start charging you an additional $10 to place an order, and that goes to the driver. Now drivers will be making $30 an hour because you really can only do about 3 deliveries in an hour. Depending on your area, maybe you might be able to get 5. But that's if you're declining a lot and you're only taking short distance trips. But you still got that wait time at the restaurant waiting for the food and traffic conditions. So at the most, maybe you're going to make 18, maybe you're going to make 30, maybe you're going to make 20. But nevertheless, the point that I'm making right here is that whether people are getting half a minimum wage, full minimum wage, only getting paid by a delivery, or whatever, or, doing rideshare, you're only getting paid by pickup or whatever the case is. People are only doing the job because of the idea of tips. People only do certain jobs because of the idea of tips. So the next time you go into an IHOP and you wait forever because there's not a lot of waitresses, understand this. That the one waitress that is there, the 2 or 3 waitresses that are there, are probably about to quit. Because it's always packed. They're always jumping around, moving around. And people get their food late. Or the waitresses take their order late. And people decide not to tip. Those waitresses are not going to stick around. Because nobody else wants to work there. And they're not able to earn as much tips because the people who do get their food, who do get good service, still don't tip. So, again, you can say whatever you want to, but you would be pissed if your bill was 40% higher or gratuity, or even in places of business where gratuity is already added, people are already getting pissed off. I mean, the video is 15 minutes. Thanks for listening. Maybe I'll do a part 2.